Page. Hello, hello. Welcome in to a special Friday evening edition. So it's not morning Joe Schmo, it's Friday evening Joe Schmo. And there are some other content creators who are out there going live right now. So maybe the timing of this is bad, but I'm okay with that. What are we going to do? Bob is going live with his Brian Koberger stuff. Jay is going live with that the rose petal thing, whatever that is. I have not been following that case. I'm not going to lie. I got so many irons in the fire that I cannot keep track of them all. I think Trial TV is live right now. So if you're the one other person that's joining me or the two other people that are joining me just to hear me talk, that's great. Salty is supposed to be joining me here in a minute. And I'm going to need her to go through these documents because she has done way more research and she has probably already forgotten more than I know about this case. But yeah, I just wanted to show this Foia response that I got from the Orange County Sheriff's Office in the Stephen Sterns Sterns-Soto thing. So I'll give a few people, if anybody wants to come over and check this stuff out, they can. It's all public information, but I definitely have not seen a vast majority of this stuff. There's some interesting pictures. There's some interesting videos, some interesting documents. So I actually requested something really, really specific from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, and they sent me 28 gigabytes of data. Hey, Carol, welcome in. Thank you for dropping in. Hopefully Salty will be joining me here in a minute because I'm not a big fan of talking to myself. And also, I'm not nearly as educated on this case as she is. So she's going to hopefully be able to guide us through this Foia response through the 28 gigabytes of data. I'm only going to go a couple hours tonight. I know a couple hours, that sounds a lot like a long time. It is. But Publicly Buzzed is going to do their Feral Friday thing here in a couple of hours, and I want to duck out by then. Anyway, while we're waiting for Salty, I guess I can share with you what prompted this Foia response from me, because back a couple of weeks ago, I think it was February 6th. So what's that, 15? Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, the defense filed a whole bunch of motions. They filed a whole bunch of motions to exclude the death penalty for some kind of juror instructions. But one of the main things that they filed was to exclude evidence based on him voluntarily handing over his phone to the police officers when they were conducting the investigation. That's a pretty big legal issue in my mind. So I wanted, and I couldn't find any video footage of those interviews. So it was supposedly on February 27th of 2024 when they were conducting an investigation, and they went to his house in Kissimmee. They interviewed him. It was just an audio recording. And then they came back and interviewed him later that night, just after midnight. There's Salty. Hello, hello. Welcome in, Salty.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming in. I know we've had a long week and you have done some long lives this week, so I appreciate you coming in and helping me with this.
Oh, no problem. I had a phone call and I finally got off of that. I was like, I need to go now. I got to go jump in this live. So I'm here.
I appreciate it so much. I was just talking about what prompted me to do the Foia request in this, and it was because one of their motions that they filed on February 6th was to suppress the evidence that came from his phone that he voluntarily handed over to the police.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't remember seeing those interviews, and I know they're out there. I know this is public information, but I'm going to get it straight from the horse's mouth. I'm just going to send a very specific request to the Orange County Sheriff's Office for those two very specific interviews. So, hey, Bright Wheel, welcome in. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, hey, she was with me earlier.
Good deal.
Oh,
so I'm going to play a news article that came out, or a TV piece It came out right after the defense filed all these motions, and it kind of explains like the gist of what triggered me to file this FOIA request.
Alrighty.
Here we go.
WESH 2 News continues.
The man accused of murdering 13-year-old Sterns-Soto is getting ready for his trial.
Stephen Stern's attorneys are asking a judge to throw out evidence that investigators found on his cell phone and an online account. WESH 2's Spencer Tracy explains why Sterns believes he had no choice but to hand over his phone.
Sterns claims he had no choice but to hand over his phone. His attorney also says he was under the influence of a prescription anxiety drug that day as well.
I am going to hold on to your phone, okay? I'll give it back to you.
So just so we're clear, the audio that's playing while we're seeing Stephen get loaded into the cruise car is not the audio from this video. The audio is from that interview that happened on February 27th, either the afternoon one or the late one. I'm pretty sure it's the earlier one, like in around 4 o'clock in the afternoon at his house in Kissimmee. So they drove up. So Orange County Sheriff's Office sent detectives up to Kissimmee to interview him. And that's when they took his phone. And that's what this audio is from. The audio isn't related to the video. They're just kind of showing the video of him getting put into the squad car at the same time as they're playing the audio.
When we're done. Okay? Do you have any questions for us?
How long are you gonna need my phone?
On February 27, 2024, the day after Sterns-Soto's mom reported the teen missing, this is the recording of a detective asking Sterns if she could take a photograph of his cell phone history and check the phone settings.
Your phone. I told you that I was going to hold on to it and that we would like to download your phone, right?
Okay.
So that's the second interview where she's going back and affirming, I told you I was going to hold on to your phone, right? And we're going to download some stuff. And he says, okay. I'm going to back it up just a second so you can hear him verbally say, okay.
To download your phone, right?
Okay.
Is this something that I have your consent to do, or do I need to get a search warrant for your phone?
It should be fine.
Investigators say they found hundreds of pictures and videos on his phone that showed him molesting her for years. In a new court filing, Sterns' attorney has filed a motion to suppress that evidence. His attorney argues that it was unlawfully taken and that investigators did not get a warrant to search his phone.
What this is the defense's attempt to try to eliminate or suppress evidence in the trial or trials that the state can try to prove.
As the case prepares to head to trial, the state has not yet responded to this motion in court.
The lawyers are working, the defense is working, the state's working, and, it's designed to sort of vary what evidence would be admissible and what evidence would not be admissible in the trial.
Sterns' pretrial is scheduled for tomorrow. Of course, we'll be there and bringing the latest on air and online. I'm covering Osceola County in Kissimmee. Spencer Tracy, WESH 2 News.
So what are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are he gave it up, and she asked him, do I need a warrant? And he said, no, it should be fine, because he thought that both factory resets wiped it clean.
Sounds like
And I
consent
don't-
to me, right?
It was definitely consent. It didn't just sound like it. It was a direct consent. And he's not going to be, this motion's not going to be great. He's not going to be able to suppress that phone.
Yeah, I don't see it happening unless there's something crazy that we don't know about. But that's kind of why I did this FOIA request. Because
yeah, when
I
you
want to
pour
hear
through
those audio
those,
clips, and I actually do have those audio clips, the entire one from the earlier interview and the entire one from the later interview. But anyway, the filing FOIA requests. So Salty, you're a deep dive investigation type of person. You are looking for facts, you're looking for receipts, and I need those too. But I'm like a research guy. Like I'm going to go and request from a request from Tony Liggett, and it was Nick McClelland that filed a response to me. I'm going to request stuff from the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, and they want to deny it. They want to deny it. In Florida, they don't deny things like that.
no, they don't.
No. So on February 11th, to the Office of the Orange County Sheriff, pursuant to Article 1, Section 24 of Florida Constitution, and those legal citations are pretty important because if your FOIA request gets denied, then they have to have a legal foundation for denying it. We'll take a look.
Florida has the most open sunshine laws in the country. And I've tried to tell everybody that for as long as I've been on YouTube. We have the most open sunshine laws of the entire country. Transparent as hell.
Right.
And there would have to be extremely good reasoning for not giving the information out under our Florida sunshine law. Other states have adopted the law, but they haven't adopted it to the full standard that Florida has.
I'm sure you remember my response from Nick McClelland. Your request is denied in full. And
everything in Indiana is denied. Everything in Indiana is denied, you know? But, yeah.
So, but I have learned through various FOIA requests that if you're not very specific in your request, they can deny it on the grounds that it's not specific enough. So in this one in particular, I just said I want to inspect or obtain copies of public records that pertain to an interview that occurred between Stephen Sterns and your detectives Tagler and Acosta. Specifically, I'm seeking footage from body-worn cameras and or audio recordings of the interview that occurred around 1600 hours on the 27th. And then I sent a subsequent request for the one that took place a little bit after midnight, around 1300 hours on the 28th. So I was very specific in my request, and they sent me, I think they sent me pretty much everything. Like, they sent me a link to 28 gigabytes of data that includes audio files, video files, documents, pictures. I mean, it took me 24 hours to download everything. And part of that was my fault because I went to like download entire files or entire folders that were like 90 gigabytes and my computer would time out and I'd come back to my computer and be like, crap, I got to start over. And instead of picking up where I left off, my laptop would start over. So after a couple of times of that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to break it down. I'm just going to download like a gigabyte or two at a time. So this is what I ended up getting from them. Salty, can you see that? This is the entire folder. So we have a folder of photos that's almost 1,000 photos in there. Then there are the reports, the police reports, and then there's the 911 audio. And then there are 5 folders of additional evidence that all include or mostly include additional videos, photos, audio files, and pictures. Then there's a folder of Jennifer and Stefan interviews. There are 2 interviews in there. So one must be her and one must be him, I assume. There's one of just her. That's the one that we've all seen of her sitting in there on the couch in the interview room. And then there's a folder of the arrest warrant. And
so that was the interview of her in the room with the police officers being questioned.
Yeah, the one that is titled Jennifer Video Interview. Yes, that's the one in the interrogation room of her on the couch.
Yeah.
But I'll start with the 911 audio so we can all kind of go back to that day where she called to report that Maddie was missing. And there's 3 different 911 calls. I think Jen is the first 2, and then there's somebody else is the 3rd one, and I'm not sure who that is. She kind of has a Spanish.
Jennifer's mother. It's Jennifer's mother.
Okay. So let's just listen to those. They're pretty short, but it kind of takes us back. So just so you know, when they go quiet, there's some redacted information in there, like they redact out the specific address, they redact out Maddie's name, and a couple of other particular things. So when it goes quiet, it's just there. That's the police redaction. They redacted that before they sent it out. Wait, she said, I'm calling on behalf of the mother. Is Salty, is this Jen herself?
I can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't hear anything?
No.
Crap. I had this problem last time I tried to play an audio file. Let's see if I open it with a different type of player. Open with, let's try this. Let's see if I share that. If that works. So I'm going to have to go back to StreamYard, unshare the previous one, and share my media player. Let's see if that works. Let's try this. Tell me if you can or can't.
Okay.
Can you hear that, Salty?
No.
Well, dang it.
Yeah, Brightwell said they can't hear it either.
Yeah. StreamYard, you suck. Because I can hear it on my end.
Well, remember the other day when I was playing that one for you guys on Restream, y'all could hear it, but I couldn't. But it was from an embedded link, though. It wasn't something I downloaded to the computer.
Right. I'm going to try one more app here, and hopefully this app works. If not, this isn't going to be much fun.
I feel like I had an issue like that with one of the audio recordings I had of the parents, of his parents. Like I couldn't get it to play, and, from the computer. It was weird.
All right. So I opened it up in Clipchamp. So let's see if I share Clipchamp, if this works. If not, then we're just going to have to look at stuff that we can look at. Did you hear the TV news report that I played earlier?
Yeah.
Well, what the hell is going on? All right, I'm going to share Clipchamp. So Clipchamp is shared. Let's see if we play it, if you can hear it. Can you hear that?
Nope.
Damn it. All right. I guess we're not going to be able to do anything that includes audio then.
I mean, I think that the 911 calls are on my channel, but the thing is that when they did, like they called 911 originally and they never showed up. Like it took a long time for the cops to come. So then the grandmother calls back and she's really upset that they're not there yet. But there were 2 other kids missing at the same time and they were kind of stretched thin. And then they finally get there, and they all meet up at at Jennifer's mother's office. Is the first time the cops meet up with them. And they're all at the office at that point, which is not far from Maddie's school.
Yeah, I did listen to both 911 calls, and the second one is like, hey, we called a while ago and you haven't sent anybody here. And she's like, oh, you're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be Brightwell. That could be. But I have the same settings whether I play it on YouTube or whether I play it in one of the special apps. It obviously has to do with the apps. Like whatever app I'm using on my computer isn't wanting to stream it to StreamYard. Okay, so we're going to have to move beyond that. So let's go back to the files, and Salty, you get to pick which one we look at first, which folder we get into first. Now I can't find that folder. Oh, all right. I'm gonna go up. That's why. So the 911 audio we can't listen to. I really wanted to because that impacted me today. Once I got everything downloaded and I listened to those 911 calls again, I was like, Holy cow. All right. So here's the folder again with all of the 28 gigabytes of stuff. We can look at the reports. We can look at the photos.
I mean, I don't know which one the warrants and the affidavits. There's some there. You know, all the different evidence packages. I think I've pretty much seen them all, but I don't know which ones contain which. See, like that one that contains Madeline's notebook and sketches. I see that's on there. And you probably got a lot of the reports, because these documents can be super long, and there's a lot of reports in them from different cops, different witnesses. It's a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And I know for a fact that one of those drops is like 896 pages, because that was my first doc drop.
Right.
But I don't remember. You know, I can't tell by looking at that.
Should we just go through the photos first? Just like, because there's like 1,000 photos, and we can just like start panning through those and see if there's anything interesting in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting photos in there, but you took out those ones, right?
I did. I didn't take them out. But we're going to stop before we get to those. And I know exactly the picture that's before the one that we're going to stop on.
Okay.
Oh, man. So let's see here. I want to make sure this pulls up. It's not showing that. See, okay, it's got to do with the applications that open up when I double click on a piece of evidence. So that's what's going on. Here we go. All right, so this is photo number 1, case number 24-011313, February 28th of 2024. Orange County Sheriff's Office Forensic Garage. So is this his car then? I assume this is his car that they're examining, that they've taken for evidence.
That's the car he was driving, the Lincoln MKZ, whatever it was called, that's technically owned by his father, but this is the car he used that weekend to drive down to down to Kissimmee from Northport, and this is the car he transported Maddie's body in.
Okay.
So yes, that was his car.
There's a picture of the search warrant. I'm sure that's probably also somewhere else in these documents.
It is.
The car, side of the car.
This is when they were taking the car, and see the right, that's the tire that he changed, where he had the blowout where he left Maddie's body. That's the tire.
He supposedly had a flat tire. Some people believe that he used that as an excuse to pull
no,
over.
if you look at, okay, well, no, because we have photos of the actual tire. We have photos of him putting the damn tire in the compactor. There's tire tread left at the scene from the blowout of the tire. So some people are wrong.
Gotcha.
The evidence is all here. So
See,
he did, and we also have an eyewitness who saw him changing the tire and saw the car and then saw the press conference to bolo this car, and the guy remembered, I saw that car and I know right where that guy was at changing that tire. That's how the police found Maddie. So the tire was absolutely true. He just happened to have a blowout right there, and that's where he chose to leave her for whatever reason.
Gotcha. So maybe he was headed somewhere else with her body. Maybe.
He was, in my opinion.
So when they collected the car, they put stickers over the doors to show that the interior of the car hadn't been messed with, you know, during the transport process before the actual forensic investigators started in. Yeah, there's one over the trunk there too, that red sticker.
Mm-hmm.
That's his license plate.
And they did a full forensic workup of the car. That car was his parents', and they used it. They called it their dog ambulance because they raised those standard poodles, and this was like their spare car, and they used it to transport those dogs back and forth to the vet and different things. And then Stearns used that same car this week, that particular weekend, because his crappy car didn't work.
There's the key for the car sitting on the hood, evidence stickers, VIN number. Oh, we have a VIN number.
Yeah.
CSI Janiak.
Mm-hmm.
Janiak. He must be the investigator.
Yeah, he was one of them.
Picture of the search warrant.
It's the slider to their apartment.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. That right there is the kitchen. You see to the right. See where the cat's sitting at the blue chair?
Mm-hmm.
There's a cat. See that petitioner wall thingy?
Yep.
To the right of the table? Behind that was Maddie's makeshift bedroom.
Oh my gosh.
They put a wall petitioner, you know, those things you pull out, the foldable door, the foldable thingies, whatever. I could forget what you call it. But behind that, and you'll see the photos, Maddie's bed and computer desk, all that is behind that. That is the kitchen, and it's directly across from Maddie's makeshift room, which is also right next to Jennifer's room, which to tell me how she didn't recognize her daughter's voice in the kitchen that morning, it's beyond me, but it's what she claims. That's the kitchen. The stairs leading up to the other bedrooms, the 4, yeah. Upstairs was the 3 bedrooms. Slow down. Hold on a minute.
Oh, sorry. I'll go back to the stairs.
I,
There we go.
I can't
Okay.
explain what y'all are looking at going that fast.
All right.
Because the people are going to get confused. All right, so that leads upstairs. Upstairs was room 4, where she sent him and Maddie to go sleep. There's also 2 other rooms up there that the 2 roommates rented. Jennifer's bedroom was on the first floor, right there by the kitchen, next to the makeshift bedroom where Maddie was at. But Maddie's room was really the living room, but they converted it to Maddie's bedroom.
Right.
Okay.
Is that Jen's room right there?
I believe that is up the upstairs there. Yes, because there's the dining room table. So that is the door to Jen's room.
Hmm.
And that's looking into, and see, there's Maddie's makeshift wall thingy as part of the dining room / living room.
That's the only privacy she had that she
Yes.
could call her own.
Yes. Wow. And see there how it opens up, and then inside of there was where Maddie slept. Or never slept, apparently. That was just her room with all her stuff in it.
Right.
And that was her bed and her bedding.
Definitely a child's room. There's a volleyball down there on the bottom of the table.
Yeah.
She had a computer desk.
Mm-hmm. Now those, I can't remember if that was one of the
This doesn't look like it's still her room. Yeah, that doesn't. No, that's not still her room.
That's that one. Okay, I believe that one was Jennifer's. Jennifer's room had a lot of stuff in it and a big king size bed on the first floor.
And still had a Christmas tree up at the end of February.
Well, some people. That's inside Jen's room there, looking out into the kitchen. So see, Jen claims that Stefan came in that morning to get the dog, to take the dog outside, and she heard people in the kitchen, but she couldn't state if one of them was Maddie or not. You're right there. You didn't hear your daughter's voice? You couldn't tell if that was your daughter in the kitchen? I would have been able to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, because her room is that right there, that close to the darn kitchen, you know? The bathroom.
Oh, so the bathroom, her bathroom was an extension of her, was only accessible through her bedroom. She had her own private bathroom.
Jennifer did.
Yeah. And she didn't like when Stefan used that bathroom, she made him go and use the upstairs bathroom. Right?
No. The upstairs roommates did not like Stefan using the upstairs bathroom. He had to use Jen's.
That's right. I got it backwards.
Yes.
I wonder why that was. I wonder why they didn't like him using.
Because he was a weirdo. If you're 2 grown women and you're renting a room from this lady, you don't want her nasty boyfriend up in your bathroom. I don't like men in my bathroom. My son and my grandson use a separate bathroom than I do. I don't want y'all in my bathroom. I don't. I don't want to clean up behind you. I don't want to, I don't. So yeah, the ladies didn't want him using their bathroom. They're like, can he please use yours downstairs? He's your boyfriend, not ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally
He's a bit
understandable.
gross. I'm sure he missed the mark a few times.
Yes.
More bathroom shots. Lots of shampoo and conditioner and other stuff in there. Lots and lots. Messy counter. Oh my gosh, clutter. Wow.
Yeah, I could. I couldn't have stood that shit.
All right, here we are back outside of her bedroom and looking up the stairs with the kitchen to the left.
Yes.
Electric stoves. That's the one thing about Florida that I hate. Y'all don't have natural gas very often.
No, not much. And I'm so used to it. It's what it is, you know.
Yeah. I know. And there are some good like induction top electric stoves. I like the induction tops. I'm okay with those. But I love me a natural gas stove. I can control the heat so much better.
Oh yeah, I'm so used to using it. It's
okay.
Yeah,
Going upstairs.
Yeah.
Now here we are at the top of the stairs, more or less. Looks like the laundry closet is there off to the left.
Yeah. And I believe
There's
that's
the upstairs bathroom.
Yeah.
Heck, the laundry closet is the most organized of anything we've seen so far.
Probably because the upstairs roommates kept it that way.
Right, exactly. Looks like there was a refrigerator upstairs. Brown bananas. I like ripe bananas. I don't like green bananas. Yeah, the upstairs bathroom is way cleaner than the downstairs one.
Yeah. Would you want Stefan messing around in your clean bathroom when you looked at Jen's?
Nope. Okay, so this is one of the upstairs bedrooms, probably one of the roommates.
Yes, because room 4 was the one Stefan would have been in.
Can you imagine being that roommate that this has happened and the police got to come in and say, hey, y'all need to clear out. This is a crime scene. We don't know when you're going to get back in, if ever. And
now that right there is Stefan. This is Stefan's room.
Is it? This is 4?
Yeah, this is part of that room. There's a mini fridge there. That's the nightstand.
Okay. So Maddie had to sleep in a makeshift room down in the living room, and Stefan got his own room upstairs.
Okay, him and Jen shared her room. And then at some point, Jen said they broke up as a couple, and he moved to the upstairs bedroom. And then his dad was paying the rent on that room. Dad got tired of paying it and told Stefan, I'm not paying the rent there anymore. You're not even working. You need to get your tail back over here to Northport and get a job. I'm not paying the rent no more. So that's why he moved back to Northport, because Daddy wouldn't pay the rent. And Jen had to pay rent to her father. Her father owned this unit. So, and that's why the doors were all labeled, you know, with numbers. Number 3 was one of the roommates' rooms. And
So
but number 4,
roommates' rooms.
Yeah, yes. And one of the roommates lived in her room by herself. The other roommate shared her room with her son.
So this is 3. A little messy, but not like embarrassingly so. Lots of shoes. Lots and lots of shoes. That's a shoe person right there. All right. I wonder if that's 2 that we're looking at on the left there.
Yeah.
That's room 2.
This is this is the other roommate's bedroom. I believe this is the one that shared with her son, because and you know, when you're in a roommate situation, of course, she kept a lot of her groceries and food items in her room because you don't want nobody eating up your stuff.
Exactly.
And Maddie had made the comment to her friend or the teacher. It's one of the things she didn't like about Stefan being there was all he did was eat all their food.
What a pig of a human being, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. But I often tell the story about when we had to share an office with the Lady Mormon missionaries, and my brother-in-law brought in homemade lasagna for lunch that day. For his lunch, put it in the community fridge to keep it until lunch, and he goes in there for lunch and it's gone. It was the lady missionaries that ate his lasagna. Oh, he's such a good guy though. He didn't get mad at him. He's just like, well, that sucks. It's funny though. Yeah, they definitely kept the common areas cleaner and neater than they did their own personal areas. But I mean, oh, so he had his own bathroom too. So there's 3 bathrooms in this place.
This is still the roommate. Yeah, this is still a roommate's room here.
Right. So the room 2 had its own bathroom. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
This
then
is
room
door
4
4.
is where he was at. Yes.
All
And
right,
see
there you
there.
go. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if we're going to see any of the things in here that were so disturbing that we heard in the description.
Yeah, some of it.
Is that a backpack off to the left? Does he have a backpack sitting on top of that table?
Yeah.
Or a bag of some kind? It looks like
Yes, and there's like a
strap.
sex toy over on the little dresser. The drawer is open. That's where the gun is going to be, in the drawer. That device sitting there is a toy.
Oh, I know what it is.
Mm-hmm. And there's your pew pew, whatever you want to call it on the YouTube.
Okay. 6-hour P365. Interesting.
Yeah.
They cleared it. Got the identification number on the serial number on it. Table full of stuff. What is that Ultra Pro thing on the left side?
I don't know if that was some of his vape stuff or if that was like one of his, I don't
Okay.
really know, all this stuff he had in there.
Okay. Yeah, that's a backpack thingy.
Yeah.
With another clip with hollow points. That's a hollow point round right there.
Yep.
So if you live in close quarters like that, then hollow points are actually better, because if you miss your target, then usually they will disintegrate in a wall easier than something that's like Full Metal Jacket. Oh, USA says Pokemon or Magic card boxes. Let's go back up to that.
I don't know.
Huh.
He loved his toys, okay? Flat out. He doesn't make that a secret. His Tamagotchis or whatever you want to call them, stupid things. He was more into that than he was anything else.
Oh yeah, there's a player's handbook there off to the right.
Yeah. Like that. He was obsessed with that stuff. And that's where he told the cops he was doing that day, out riding around, going to the different shops, looking at the different comic books and the toys and to seeing who the targets, to go see who had the latest this and that. A guy with no money.
Right.
And I can't remember what was on the note. This is a note that they took out of one of the bedrooms. I believe this came out of Jen's bedroom.
Friday, 5:57 p.m. Looked like a 1990 Chevy Trans something conversion van, white van with folded red stripes, faded red stripes, beige curtains. Michael Adel 321. Ooh, there's a phone number in there. Don't you be calling that number now. I didn't get that.
No.
I didn't get that bleeped out. Friday.
It's
so
already been out.
So her birth. Yeah, so Maddie's birthday party was at her grandmother's on Saturday. So
yes,
this would.
We don't know. There's not a date on this piece of paper, though. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
We don't
Right. It could have
know.
been the last Friday or the last Friday, the last Friday, the
Yeah,
last Friday.
and we don't even know what it pertained to. Were they looking to buy him
Right.
a conversion van to sleep in? We don't know.
Huh. Interesting. Door 4 again. There are a lot of pictures of door 4.
Yeah.
Wait, were there spots on the floor?
If you go back, no, that's just the way the wood is. It's a driftwood looking type stuff.
Right.
But on the inside of that room, one of the first things I noticed was the chain lock on the inside of that room.
Ooh.
You passed it, but there'll be more photos of it.
Okay. Right
See
there?
that right there? Yeah.
Wow. On the inside of a house.
Yeah, on the inside of the bedroom.
On an interior door. That's actually, I think,
Yes.
against fire code. I don't think you're supposed to lock interior doors with those things.
Yeah.
I think that's against fire code.
It was one of the
Anyway,
very first things I noticed with this case.
Like he cared about that, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, he's not worried about breaking no damn fire code.
No. He's worried about making sure nobody walks in on him in the middle of something.
Exactly.
That's a better picture of it.
Yeah.
There's double lock on it.
Double locks, yes. And then that's Maddie's room again.
Right. She's got her backpack hanging up there still. So is that something that she would have taken to school that day if
That's
she
a
was
different
going to school?
backpack. That's a different backpack because she had a backpack with her and they found it in the dumpster.
Okay.
My kids always had a couple of backpacks, so my grandson does too.
Lots of dirty clothes all over the place. So the computer screen is on. So I'm wondering if the police didn't try and activated that and get into it, because it's not in a lock screen right now. Like you can get in there and see
I have
whatever
no
you want to
idea.
see. No.
Yeah, every time we ever saw a picture of it, it had a black screen, so I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't there. Little jewelries. Valentine's Day. Oh yeah, Valentine's Day just happened a couple weeks before that. 12 days before that. 13. So what did she get? Who did she get Valentine's from?
Stefan. Sorry, I was walking through the living room and the kids were in there, so I had to mute out for a sec.
You're right. Stains on the sheet.
I gotta charge my phone before it dies. I just realized it was about to die and I was sitting outside.
And here's a little notebook.
Yeah, if you you gotta zoom into it and read it.
My fluctuating moods, anxiety, and trauma-related symptoms affect my memory, concentration, focus, and energy levels. I also have severe trauma responses when I encounter all males. Oh my gosh. This poor girl. Oh, they zoomed in for us. That was in her room.
Yes.
More dresser stuff, more computer stuff. So they're pulling stuff out and putting it on the bed now as they're doing their inventory and search and investigation. They put all the dirty clothes into the basket. They weren't all in the basket before. They were all strewn all over the room. So we're back out to the kitchen now.
Yeah.
There's bar stool over there.
And that's Jen's room again. Yeah.
She's got a full closet too.
Mm-hmm.
Bathroom. We've seen a lot of these. It's a little different angle of the kitchen. Are we going back up the stairs again? We're going back up the stairs again. So some of these pictures are repeat, but I'm wondering if The first person goes in and documents it a certain way, and then they start like pulling stuff out for evidence and investigation, and then another person comes in and takes pictures again after that. That's kind of what this feels like.
Yeah, they have a lot of photos from inside this home. All the different angles and different things, and some of them are repetitive, and some are just close-ups of ones that were already taken and different things like that.
Right. Very similar pictures to what we've seen before. We're going to keep scanning. So this is in the forensics garage. Okay.
Uh-huh.
February 28th, forensics garage. This is his car again.
Yeah.
With the donut, with the VIN, repeat photos, lots of repeat photos.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. And there's when they finally opened the inside of the car.
Here we go. Now we're inside the car. Now we
Or
broke
better
through
known as the
ceiling.
dog ambulance.
Right.
We heard enough about those darn poodles. It just annoyed the crap out of him.
There's a flashlight in the door. Grass and stuff down under the floor mat. Wipes in the driver's side door.
Well, it was the dog ambulance now. They love their dogs, and, they bled sometimes, so I'm just saying.
Flushable wipes.
Yeah.
Yep, there's the seat protector. That thing right there, that big brown thing is a seat protector.
Yeah. And see, there's the tire. Yes. Yep.
That is a blowout. Holy
So people
cow.
who say that didn't happen don't know what they're talking about, because it absolutely happened. That's why, and that was divine intervention, and that is how they found Maddie's body.
Hey, Lisa, welcome in. Good to see you in here. Thanks for joining us. Small audience tonight. Lots of other creators out there doing their own thing tonight.
Lisa and I were in a chat earlier. Lisa, I still didn't get through that transcript. I had to stop. Right? That tire was shredded down, girl. It did blow out. Hey, USA. I'm sorry, guys. I just saw chat. But yeah, that was the tire that blew out. And like I said, there were still, even though he picked the tire up and put it in the trunk, because Maddie was in the trunk at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he has to open that trunk to get the spare out, but you got to move Maddie first. What do? You look around, nobody's coming. Let me run across the street and put this child in this in these little wooded area here. You run back across the street and you start changing your tire. Then somebody happened to see him. But when he picked up that tire and put it back in the trunk and everything and drove away, he left pieces of that tire tread that matched that tire at the scene.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, USA says that means he kept driving on it for a while after it first.
Yes, he did.
Blew.
Yes, he did. Because he was panicking, right?
Right. So it probably actually initially blew in a more populated area. And he's like, I got to get away from this.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
See, this Foia thing isn't a complete waste of time. I'm learning new stuff. I hope y'all are learning something too. No, Lisa, Salty is a smart one. I'm just the curious one.
What?
So you guys are so freaking smart, and I'm like, no, I'm curious enough that I got to get a FOIA request filled from the actual Orange County Sheriff's Office themselves. Y'all send me a link now, and they did, and here I am, and I saw things today that I never wanted to see.
He saw things he can't unsee. I've seen, yeah, Lisa, I've seen all these before, so I'm helping Joe go through the review and trying to explain what we're looking at here.
I mean, I got 28 gigabytes of stuff. I can't.
Good Lord, dude! Look, I got a whole ass transcript to read this. How many pages, Lisa? Over 100, and I'm not even trying tonight. I was like, you know what? I gotta stop.
Well, hopefully we can get Dolphin and Firefly on board, and we can all read it together. I mean,
I think they're reviewing it still to make sure it's not a waste of time. So I don't know. I know I'll review it live. I just don't know if that'll be tomorrow yet or not. It won't be tonight. I'm tired. My last 2 days, I've been doing some long lives reading documents, and I'm not down with it tonight.
No, the law enforcement was curious about those flushable wipes too, just like I was.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, of course you're going to be curious about it. There's a lot of stuff in that car that was already in there when he drove it that weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Top compartment, center console. There's a folding knife in there.
Yeah.
Doggy bambolins. Lots of rubber gloves. A back scratcher, a brush, a flashlight. Stealth angel? Somebody needs to Google that. What the heck is a stealth angel?
I can't remember what that was when we looked it up last time. It's been a minute. I'm not at the computer. My hip hurts. I don't feel like walking over there.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm having a hard time tonight, y'all. I'm hurting like an old damn lady. A lot of rubber gloves in the car. Yeah, but the thing I do need to emphasize is there's a lot of evidence in this car because he did have Maddie in the car. But this car was already full of stuff when he drove it that weekend because it was the dog ambulance that the parents used. So there was a lot of that stuff belonged to his parents. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right. That stealth angel kit is an emergency kit and it's got a compass in it. Who on earth?
Well,
these
you
days
might get
needs a
lost
freaking
between
compass?
Northport and. I don't know. I can't even read a compass. My cousin makes fun of me. I'm like, I don't even know which way to stand to hold this damn thing.
Do you know that if you have a pool of standing water and you put a stick of wood in it that floats, it will point north and south, north to south. It will align itself
Whatever.
magnetically.
Okay. My cousin would always tell me to stand still in the living room. She goes, "Which way's the beach?" I'm like, "That way." She's like, "All right, that's the way we need to go." She's always made fun of me.
Gardener's
I don't plan to ever have to need. I don't need a compass. I'm just gonna go with where my gut. I'm gonna go with where the wind takes me, man.
Ooh, there's some type of foreign material on that rubber glove that they were interested in. That is interesting.
Well, you gotta evidence all of it just in case.
No, absolutely. But do you
Yeah.
think that since there were gloves in the car, do you think he may have put those on to carry her somewhere when he took her out of the trunk? Yeah, we don't know.
I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
if I feel like there was a good chance they were already in the car because of the fact that it wasn't his car, that it was the parents'
No, absolutely.
car.
I have a box of vinyl gloves in my car. And
Okay,
I put them back. I put them in there back during COVID. Yeah, no, I put them in there for COVID, and they're just. And I used them like when I go to the gas station and stuff. And y'all can make fun of me for that if you want.
I just use sanitizer. Yeah, I'm a clean freak. My cousin thought I was a freak during COVID, but I was washing my hands all the time and sanitizing, but I didn't go as far as the gloves. I just didn't get out a lot. I was like, nah, hell no. I don't even want the Ebola or nothing. I'm staying in a house. Y'all keep your contagious shit to yourself.
Empty box of something. Patcha. I wonder if that's one of his vape things.
Probably, since he was so obsessed with the vaping.
Right. Dog harness, 2 dog leashes, umbrella, a bunch of other things, another umbrella, 2 umbrellas in there. More foreign material on the paper towels, stuff on the carpet inside. That's been tested over.
Oh yeah. It was. Everything in that car was. Now see, there's going to be. So there was. It appeared there was like blood in the car, like not like blood pools, but droplets of blood, and that was explained by the dad as being the dog's blood, and it has never been confirmed that was Maddie's blood. Never, never, never. Anywhere in the documents you're going to find, there was no blood of Maddie's in the car. That the blood was actually from the poodles.
Yep, that it appears to be bloodish in nature, but could be a lot of different things. Dog blood.
No, I'm saying there was blood. They've already verified it.
Okay.
There was blood in the car, but it was the poodle's blood. Maddie was strangled.
Oh no, Mark's in here. Oh no. Lord have mercy. Help us.
Do what?
Mark's in here. He's a good friend of mine, and he's decided to drop into chat.
I have lots of questions about vinyl gloves in your car. Me too, right? You might can tell me some secrets on old Joe here. Learn more and more about my friend every day.
Yes, Lisa, Joe is my real name. Joe Schmo is not my real name, but that's a whole different thing.
My real name is Salty.
That's your real attitude.
I know. Hey, what are you saying? No, I'm just teasing.
Across the back floor, so there's some
I
kind
own
of
my
a
shit.
cane and more umbrellas. That's almost like a golf umbrella there. It's a bigger one. It's got its own case. So they pulled out the lining.
Yeah.
Wonder if they sprayed it with something to like test it for
Probably.
materials.
Yeah, more than likely, to look for bodily fluids, anything of that nature, because they didn't know at the time how Maddie was, killed or anything like that.
Right. Another unknown substance.
Literally, while they were holding, so they had called Jen and Stefan, and they're like, "We're going to hold a big press conference, about concerning Maddie, and if you guys come down." So they didn't know they were on their way to arrest. They were going to arrest Sterns when he got there. They thought they were going down to be a part of the press conference and plea for the public's help to find Maddie. But while they're giving the press conference, they got Jen in one room and him in another, and interrogations are happening, and they arrested him because they already knew where the car had been. The eyewitness had already told them, and they'd already pulled cameras and seen him all over town, and that, by then. But he didn't know all that.
Look at that tire. Man, that is shredded. That is shredded.
So, and like I said, these photos have been out there. So it surprised me when you said people think that didn't happen. I'm like, where do people get their information from? Because if you watched any of the streams, you absolutely know that it did happen, that we're covering it. You know what I mean? So I can't, with people who don't know their information, like you said, the receipts matter. So take everything you hear on the YouTube streets with a grain of salt.
We got to back up to the tire for Pokemon. Lisa, he moved her to the trunk. He drove to the parking garage that was by what office was it? Was it the State Farm office?
It was a Holiday Inn. He started off by having her in the front seat of the car, seat belted in, and she was slumped over. The security guard at the apartment sees her sitting like that. Multiple cameras see Maddie in the car in the front seat, appeared to be asleep. And then at some point, he drives to the Holiday Inn, enters the parking garage. Cameras see him take her from the front seat and put her in that trunk. And then when he has the blowout on the way to discard the body, he finally had no choice but to stop and deal with that tire. But she was in the trunk. And he had to move her to get to the spare.
So he had to drive far enough on that flat tire, which shredded it, to get away from a populated area to an isolated area.
Heading out of Kissimmee on that highway. Yes.
Yeah, that's a shredded tire for sure.
Yep.
The other
stuff. Like I said, when he put the tire back in the trunk and everything, he left pieces of that tire tread at the scene that definitely matched that tire.
So the rest of the stuff from the trunk, you've got a couple of folding chairs. It looks like a few umbrellas. Dang, they had an obsession with umbrellas. Does it rain in Florida ever?
Yeah.
A toe strap. It looks like a well-worn and used toe strap. Like that's not.
We're a very tropical climate, dude. We can get some serious rain here sometimes, and thunderstorms in the summer. Pop-up thunderstorms all summer long in the late afternoon.
Soccer ball in that blue tote, maybe. Yeah, that's a soccer ball. Soccer ball and blue tote. So did Maddie play? So she had a volleyball in her room. Did she play any sports? Did she
Not
play
that I'm
volleyball or
aware
something?
of, but I'm not going to say that was Maddie's ball because it was his parents' car.
Right. So
That could
maybe
have
the
been.
dogs like to play with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming that belonged to the parents and the dogs.
Right, Lisa. If all your umbrellas are in the car and you don't have it with you to get to the car, yeah, you're
Right.
gonna get wet.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's such an aggravation. Umbrellas are sometimes. I'm like, damn things in the car and it's raining, or things in the house and now it's raining. It's like, so maybe you need one in the house and 5 in the car. I don't know. But maybe they had 5 in the house and 5 in the car just in case.
Here in the East Valley, the southeast of Phoenix, it went 6 months without measurable rainfall. 6 months.
Yeah.
It's crazy out here.
Not here. In the summertime, we are known to have our afternoon pop-up thunderstorms. It's part of
Right.
it.
Yeah. It rains almost every day in Florida, but it just only rains for like 15 to 30 minutes max. And
It
then
don't rain here in my house every day. I'm just saying in the summer we get pop-up
right.
thunderstorms. Look, baby,
I'm
hold
saying
on.
it's just staying somewhere in Florida. It rains almost every day. There's a Lincoln disc. Is that binoculars? I think there's binoculars in there. Oh, that was in the glove box. So that's probably the owner's manual in that black leather thingy. Hornaday 9mm Luger round.
Mm.
Hmm.
Oh man.
Yep, that's the owner's manual, the Lincoln owner's manual. Automatic. Probably didn't know how to drive a stick shift.
If I'm not mistaken, he had a little. I think his was. I can't remember. He was into his little rice burners, as they used to call them.
Area behind shifter. Can't tell what that is. Oh, glasses, and more glasses, and fingernail clippers. Okay. Oh, there's a stain on the back of the seat. Could be dog blood. Engine compartment. Oh my gosh. I just had PTSD.
Why?
So because I have a Lincoln.
I know.
And to change the battery in my Lincoln, you see that exhaust pipe that's like in the middle of the picture that comes from the top down towards
Is
the
it a
bottom.
pain in the butt?
You have to remove all of that to change the freaking battery.
Yeah, my son complains about stuff. He works at a car dealership and he complains about stuff like that.
Well, it's funny you say that because I have AAA and my battery was dead, and AAA sent out a mechanic from one of the local garages and he puts his battery tester on it and he goes, "It's dead." I'm like, "You think? Why are you
thanks,
here?"
dude.
And he goes, "Okay, I'm gonna put my battery charger on it." So he puts his battery charger on it. We try to crank it up, it won't crank up. So he actually uses real jumper cables with a vehicle that he drove and tries to jump start it there. Didn't work. And he's like, "Well, you know what? I don't think it's your battery. I think it's an electrical problem. I think I'm gonna have to tow it to the local garage. They're gonna have to run a diagnostic on it." I'm like, "Hell no. That's going to be at least $2,000, $2,500, $3,000. Who knows what kind of a bill we're going to run up there. Just go away, buddy." So then I changed the battery myself. It took me an hour and a half, which had probably taken him a half an hour. And he knew it was going to take him at least a half an hour. But I changed it, started right up. Boom. So he was just lazy. Looks like a picture of a stain in the car, maybe.
Yeah. The car was dirty. It was,
more vinyl gloves, papers and stuff that are in there. Nothing all that important. Repeat pictures of what we've seen before. We've already seen these. The search warrant again. This is Janiac again. Oh my goodness. Oh, they went.
That's where they were searching that landfill.
The waste transfer station.
Yes.
Oh my. So were they searching? So had the trash trucks come and collected the stuff that he put into the dumpster at the apartments?
I'm trying to remember exactly why they did that. Because there was a garbage and the trash compactor thingy that he was seen on camera putting things into. So there was a possibility it did get picked up before they got to it. You know what I'm and then they had to go looking for the stuff.
Oh, what
Yep.
a fun job.
Yeah.
What a fun job.
Yeah. And they find her backpack and her laptop and the things like that
So did they find it at the waste transfer station, or did they find it at the apartments?
I don't remember exactly. It's been so long since I looked at the case.
There's
4 or 5
there's a
cases.
tire. There's a piece of a tire.
So this white stuff on that tire, when you get to Maddie's backpack, it is also covered in this white stuff, and we don't know what that is or what he was trying. It's like a paint almost.
Or like
right?
maybe somebody just threw a can of paint in the thing
Yeah.
after he threw her stuff in. Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know. But
So they did have to go to the waste transfer station to find this stuff. Okay.
And there's
There's a
Maddie's
crock.
backpack. Okay, but the thing
Oh,
about the Crocs is here. The thing about the Crocs, one was found with the garbage. The mate was found in Jennifer's bedroom.
Yeah, we're gonna see a picture of that later.
So he carries Maddie out to the car that morning and drops one of the shoes fall. I mean, she only had one shoe? You know,
And how did
Jen not
if she was upstairs in room 4, how did it wind up in Jen's bedroom?
right.
How does so just say casual theory, Jen finds it on the kitchen floor. So he carries Maddie out. She finds it on the floor and she just picks it up and go, "Oh, okay, I'm going to put this in my room and not
Just
ask him any
tosses it in there.
questions." Yeah. Oh.
Right. Did Maddie wear shoes to school this morning? You know, what shoes did my daughter wear to school this morning? I found one of her shoes in the kitchen. Nothing. Just crickets.
Oh.
Make it make sense, right?
Yeah, they found this at the waste transfer station. Good work, guys. Like amazing work.
These cops did a jam up job investigating this and in quickly gathering all the cameras that they did. And just when you get to the maps of how they show his car, just all the way through town. He is cooked.
There are her school books. I think there's a laptop in there too. Do you see that port
Yeah,
down
her
there on the
school
side?
Yes, her school issued laptop was in there, but they couldn't trace it, you know, to like find it because it was turned off, powered down.
Oh. All right, 2500 West Colonial Drive. Oh, here we go.
And
I
there
gotta
you
be
go
really,
when he
really
was
careful.
arrested. So this is before they start to strip him and photograph his body.
And believe me, we're going to stop before we get to that point because
There's
y'all
parts of his
don't.
body y'all may not want to see, and YouTube might strike Joe or get him in trouble for showing it. We took one for
And
the team.
yeah, yeah. And one of the forensic investigators did too, because he or she had to handle his junk to take pictures of it.
She had to, and she told him too in the interview room. She's like, "Don't get squirrely on me, like, dude, don't. I will jack you up." But yeah, I've seen parts of Stearns I didn't need to see, but I was curious because the only reason I'll tell you because when Jennifer was shown a picture of it. Apparently, it had specific type markings. And when they asked Jennifer if she recognized it, she said no. And my first thought was, why did you never see it? Women, y'all know, you know, your man's junk. If there's something on, you know, a marking, I'm assuming she never saw it because she's like, oh, nope, I don't think that's his. Ew.
Yeah.
Libertarian, be careful.
Believe me, I'm hitting the forward button very, very slowly. This is the picture that I have on my thumbnail. He's just such a pathetic loser. You
Yes, he
pathetic,
is.
evil.
Nasty ass, dirty old man. Ew.
I'm not sure what that's about.
Okay, well, see, let me show you. Right, if you zoom in, see how it says sustenance on that little banner.
Mm-hmm.
That was his Reddit name too.
Oh wow.
He is sustenance on Reddit, and yeah, and all over his Reddit have I. Yes, I have.
He's in the cuffs where he belongs.
I'll be right back.
All right, this is the last picture I can show guys till I hop over, because the next pictures that come up, there's like a half a dozen pictures with those drawers dropped. So we aren't going there tonight. We're not going out there on YouTube Live ever. If y'all are curious, I mean, I can send them to you, but it's hard to unsee that shit. All right. So, all right. Dang it. Didn't need to see that again, people. Okay. So I got past the pictures that I didn't want to see again, didn't need to see again. Now I can share again. Right, Wheel. Yeah, no thanks. I offered to Steve from Publicly Buzzed earlier, and he's like, I'm good. And I'm like, yeah, that's the right
Did you
answer.
offer to give it to him?
Yeah. And he's like, I'm good.
Dude. Hey, look, I'm an evidence person. I sometimes I got to see stuff that I don't want to see, but I have to see it for, investigative purposes.
All right. So I fast forwarded past those. Now we can start sharing again. I don't think there's anything more. So just look at this picture and look down at his thumb, like on our left hand side of the thumb, his right hand side. Look right by his fingernail, that little round mark down there, because they're going to take a close-up picture of it here in a second. And so whoever's taking these pictures and doing this investigation is paying attention and is noticing this stuff.
Well, okay, so if you got a suspect that you know or suspect of harming someone, you automatically photograph any markings they have on their body, scratches, sores, anything, because it could be evidence of a fight or anything like that. You know what I mean? But he has a different, he has an explanation for what's wrong with his thumb. Whether we buy it or not is different.
Right. And look at that on his knuckle, on his ring finger knuckle, if you will. Interesting.
Now, his excuse for his hand and thumb being all injured is that he hadn't changed a tire in many, many years. And he really didn't know what he was doing. So as he's changing the tire, his thumb becomes wedged somehow, and he has to snatch it out. And he injured his thumb and had been wearing a Band-Aid on it. And they're like, take the Band-Aid off and let us see. So
there's a mark on the side of his hand too. So we see his knuckle, damage to his knuckle, damage to the side of his hand, and damage to his thumb. And that is a round puncture mark, like from a tooth. Tell me that's not.
I honestly can't tell you that.
Yeah, no,
I don't see any. Let me explain, because I don't see any other. I don't see any other teeth marks.
Okay, all right. I can understand that. I could, right, because teeth are close together, right? So okay,
yeah,
okay. That I can buy that. So I wonder what did cause that then.
Well, he said he got it jammed when he was changing the stupid tire because he didn't know what he was doing. He's not a man.
What round thing are you involved with that would make a mark like that on your hand when you're changing a tire? I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it's suspect.
I get what you're saying, but he claims the way he wedged it in there, you'd have to listen to him describe it, and that he had to yank his thumb out. So I don't know. That's his explanation, but I don't see a bite mark there because I don't see any other teeth marks.
Fair enough.
I could be wrong, but I would look for other teeth. I've seen a lot of bite marks on people.
Right. You are 100% correct. Yes. 100% correct. And how often have you heard me say that?
Well,
yeah. Well, that's a deep subject. OPS.
I just sleep when holiday ends. I can't help it.
So whose white car is this?
Jen's.
Jen's white car is going to get also confiscated and inspected for evidence.
Because he left in the middle of the night in that car, remember? I don't know if you remember. Excuse me. Okay. So when they got kicked out of the apartment or the condo, for the crime scene investigation, Jennifer, what's his name here, Stearns, and the dad went to a hotel. And like the dad even it goes through this whole detail about how they were all so tired and everybody goes to bed. And then at some point, he gets up and leaves in Jen's car and drives it from Kissimmee to Northport. And then he makes that trip all the way to Northport. And then he turns around and he drives back to Kissimmee in Jen's car without telling a soul. But Jen wakes up at some point and Stefan's not there. And then she calls the dad into his room and she's like, "Where's Stefan?" And he's like, "I don't know." And he told them, "Well, I couldn't sleep, so I went out for a drive and I thought I'd go right around and look for Maddie."
Did he go stargazing by any chance?
Nope. He literally drove to Northport and the police all the way to his parents' house, never went in. There was an accident near his parents' home and the police car dash cam literally captures him riding by in this car. And I forget the specific time.
Oh,
Proving
wow.
that he was in Northport. He tried to access the parents' storage facility because there was a hard drive in there he needed to get to, and he didn't get to it in time. The police found it with 3,000 images of child CSAM. None of those were Maddie, though.
Wow. So why didn't he get access to his parents' storage unit that he was trying to? He didn't have the code, or he didn't have the key. He didn't want to go ask his parents for the key or something. Okay.
There was something wrong with the code. He wasn't able to access it, so he didn't get in. And then the dad ended up getting in, and then because it was his storage unit, and he's the one that turned over that computer hard drive to the police. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but he didn't know what was on it. Turns out there was 3,000 images on it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we notice about this car that's different than the car that Stearns was driving, the doggy ambulance? It's way cleaner.
It's a lot cleaner.
Way cleaner, less cluttered.
Mm-hmm. At this time, when he drove the car to North Point, they still hadn't found Maddie, so they didn't know if he had put her somewhere, retrieved her, and then tried to take her in Jen's car to Northport. Because when the police show up at his parents' home to go question the mother, it was around 11 o'clock at night. The police see her literally running out of the house, screaming into the wilderness, "Maddie, Maddie!" Because she claims the reason she was doing that was because she had just went into Stefan's room and found the half torso sex doll, thought it was real and that was half a person, and thought that, oh my God, did he harm Maddie? Is she out in the woods? So she runs out her front door screaming Maddie's name into the night. And the cops happen to be rolling up on her while she's doing it and hear her screaming Maddie. How bizarre is that?
That's not normal.
No, it's not.
Whose ADA placard is that on the rearview mirror?
That's going to be Jen's.
I wonder what her disability is.
Anxiety, PTSD, all those.
You can't get an ADA placard for anxiety.
Yes, you can. In Florida,
can you really?
In Florida, you can be on disability for post-traumatic stress anxiety and anxiety disorder. And if you are on disability, all you have to have is a letter from your doctor and you get your card for your window. That's in Florida.
How does having anxiety mean you can park in the spaces close to the front door? Like, I don't understand the connection between emotion and I know a lot about anxiety. I know a lot about PTSD. I know a lot about those things. I have my own versions of them, my own levels of them that I have to deal with. But I'm just saying, I don't need to park next to the front door of a grocery store.
Yeah, me neither. But you can legally get it in Florida.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Right. Okay.
So she's lazy. She's lazy and don't want to walk. I don't know, lazy and don't want to walk. Because she got it because she could.
There's the key fob. There's the keys for the ignition and the doors. Close up of those. All right, now we're going out to Old Hickory Tree Road. Before I move on, what place is that? I'm testing you. Old
What? I'm
Hickory
sorry.
Tree Road.
I was reading chat. What now?
Old Hickory Tree Road.
That's where they found Maddie.
Oh no. Oh my
Out that
gosh.
way.
I need to put, okay, I need to put up my banner, guys. I got to put up my banner. Because I haven't been through these. I went through the ones where I saw SS's junk, but there we go. All right. I'm not sure what we're going to see here. So yeah. Old Hickory Tree Road, Hickory Glen. Oh, this is a store. This looks like the storage unit. Or was it just a storage unit that was near where she was found? There's a piece of a tire out there. Wonder how close that was to the tread that they found at the waste transfer station. Okay, so this is the okay, this is the storage unit. There's a camera on the side of that, which they all have or should have. Rockers, lockers.
Sorry, I had to go check on something. I'm back.
You're right. This is the storage unit. This isn't where they found her. This is the storage unit.
No. This is not where they found her.
Yeah.
I don't know. They redacted thing. Look, I've got a lot of images in the doc drops that I have. Anything to do with Maddie is redacted.
And they did redact these before they sent them out. Yes.
There's literally pages and pages that are black. And we know for a fact those are images that came off his phone. But we can't see what those images are. They are so redacted, because she is a minor, obviously. And yeah, like I said, there's pages and pages of just blank black pages, and it's all redacted images of Maddie.
There's the doggy leash to keep the dog secured during transport. Another doggy leash for transport. And the VIN number, mechanical information. This is all stuff we've seen before, so I'm going to keep flipping through it unless we see something interesting. This looks like a third go around of inspecting the vehicle, or a third set of pictures from another camera. All right. 22824 ES. So this is okay. So multiple people were taking multiple pictures during the forensic investigation, which is obviously a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
Little droplets of something on there that was of interest to them.
Well, everything is going to be of interest at that point. Yep. They don't know what it is yet.
Right. And there's the search warrant. Again, it's this time we see both pages of the search warrant. Signed 28th of February 2024 by Judge of the 9th Judicial Court. Signature unrecognizable. And this is Janiak again with the search warrant again. This is Jen's car again. There's the VIN number. All right. So these are Janiak's photos. One of the investigators. Are we to the end? Have we gone through 1,000 pictures? Holy cow, I think we're to the end. Let me scroll down in my file folder. No, we're not to the end. There's more stuff in here, guys. There's a lot more stuff in here. Why did we stop? Maybe the next file isn't a picture file. Maybe it's like a PDF. So
there's several PDFs.
Yep. All right. It is. That is exactly what happened. It's a PDF. Let's see if we're going to share that. It's not interesting. There's a Coca-Cola can in the door, and there's a grocery bag in the front.
Joe, read chat. Brightwell says.
Dang it. I'm still figuring out this hosting thing.
It
I'll get
pays
it
to read
figured out.
chat. I see. That's why I always stop and try to read my chat. I'm like, I might be doing something they don't like. They might be telling me off.
Right? Okay. I will try. I will make a concerted effort.
Get him, y'all.
All right. So this is after the PDFs, which were completely uninteresting. There's grocery bags of some kind in the front seat. And
Oh, God, I'm going to start yawning.
sorry, I don't mean to be boring.
It's not you. It's just I'm laying on this massager, and it's like,
How was that again?
shut up. If my shoulder wasn't hurting, so I'm on a massaging pad right now because my shoulder is killing me. It helps.
Coca-Cola can. Why is the one in the console appear like purpley while the one in the door appears red? Is that just like a camera
doesn't
thing?
want to end up as evidence. What now? I'm sorry.
It's that the Coca-Cola
phone
can
holder?
colors are different. No, the Coca-Cola can holder colors are different. Like the one closest to us is like purplish, and the one further away is
It's a
the
different
traditional.
flavor Coke. One of them special flavored Cokes, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pokemon.
What did she say? Let me get back to chat.
I'll have what she's having.
Very salty. Oh goodness.
So they found some.
My son made a mistake and let his girlfriend's son come spend the night with his son, and he's there and they're giving him hell. I can hear it. I'm staying in my room.
Let him sort it out. Premium service. Ask about our flexible monthly payments. Nissan owner's manual.
And Jen had a pretty new car for a lady who didn't work either.
Right? I thought she worked at like
she worked
somewhere
for 2
around.
weeks. No.
Oh, okay.
Jen was an off and on worker, and if Jen was on disability, she's only allowed to work so many hours per month in Florida anyway, before it affects her disability. Okay. So she didn't even, Jen did not work a consistent job. And each job was only held for a couple weeks at a time.
Right. And it sounds like he couldn't hold a job for longer than that.
And you remember her going on and on about this new job, and I needed all my sleep. I needed my good sleep because I was working. Couldn't give my daughter a birthday party because I was working. I mean, you just got this job and now it's overwhelming already, Yeah.
I'm not going to put, oh my gosh, that insurance identification card probably has some confidential information on it. Maybe anyway, it's probably not.
Well, that happens when you get files and that's why, but some creators take a lot of time to try to redact all that shit. But sometimes it is what it is.
I'm too lazy for that.
Yeah.
Too lazy and
I mean, hey,
incapable.
Florida sent it out, so
right. That's right. It is public information. Like even if I redacted it, somebody else could easily get a hold of it. So I'm.
Oh yeah.
But that orange device right there, that is an emergency vehicle kit that a lot of times first responders carry with them. I used to carry one with me. On the left side is a hook that's got a really sharp knife on the inside of that. They used to cut seat belts. And on the right hand side, you see that pointy thing that's used to break glass. So that's like a vehicle emergency type of tool. I forget what they call them, but it's kind of odd to see in there. But maybe they like gave it to her when she bought the car. They're like, here, take this vehicle emergency thing as a free gift for buying the car type of thing. Who knows?
Well, I don't know anybody that got one of them with their new cars.
I don't either. I had to special order mine when I was a volunteer firefighter EMT.
There's no telling where she got it. She probably got it from Stefan.
I'm trying to keep
Jen,
my
in case you drive off a bridge, you can break the window.
Yeah. Fuel, half tank. She's got a half tank of gas. Mark, you're wrong. She's got a half tank of gas. She's not out of fuel. That's a nice, clean engine. Oh my gosh, that's really clean engine compartment. How long did she have this car?
Car's pretty new.
And there's smudges that got my attention when I first saw the pictures, but Salty helped work me through the fact that that's probably the fingerprint dust. Like they're dusting for fingerprints there.
Yeah, it wasn't
like she got sideswiped by an 18-wheeler or anything.
No.
I got to have the mouse somewhere nearby though, so my right arrow will work. Yeah, that's fingerprint dust. That is a weird pattern though for some type of body fluids / oils to
I don't
make a
know.
mark on the door, because that's what fingerprint dust picks up. It picks up on our oils and stuff that we leave behind. So that's a really weird pattern. Not saying it means anything. I'm just saying looks unusual to me just at first glance.
Now, a dog did hit on the rear well of Jen's car, but that's all we know about that. There was never any evidence that I saw any of the documents that she was ever in Jen's car. But they also think somebody drove back out to the crime scene also.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Somebody. Well, that would only be one of only two people.
Mm-hmm. Or both.
Yeah. All right. Boy, they dusted the entire surface of this car. Wow.
And probably especially once they figured out he took that car in the middle of the night back to Northport, right?
Yeah.
Now we got to process this whole car.
Yep. Northport, remind me where Northport is. Is that north of Tampa?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where his parents lived. It was like 3 hours from Kissimmee.
This device complies with Part 15 of the FCC rules operations. Oh, this is a SunPass. That's the SunPass thing, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah, it sucks. It'll stick to your window. See the little suction cups on each side?
Yeah, you put it at the top of your windshield and you just drive right through.
Yeah, we have them here too as well, because we got toll bridges around here, and you can use it all through Florida.
Okay, so this is the next batch of stuff. This was done on March 1st, so this is 3 days later after all of the prior evidence has been found. That's her backpack with all the white stuff on it that they found in the waste transfer station.
Hey, Firefly, welcome in. She says Northport, Joe, is south of Sarasota. She lives down toward that way, so she would know more about exactly. I mean, I know where it's at on the map, but she knows more of the cities closest to it.
Hey, Firefly, welcome in. I think Stefan was about 5'10". Do I remember that right? Or was he bigger than that? Was he like 6
I
feet
think
tall?
he was not like huge, but
I think I actually have it in one of these documents that I've got, but I'm not going to go hunting for it now.
Oh yeah, it's all in there somewhere.
Yep. Our composition book, Hot Hands hand warmers, which if you're a Floridian, you might need in February. You might need some.
I needed them when it snowed, and trust me, I had some and I used them. Especially when I was like, when I went outside, I was like, oh man. I remembered I had them, and because it's rare that we need those things here. And I was like, oh yeah, I've got those hand warmer things, and man, they worked. I was surprised.
So this is her sweatshirt. Can we tell what that image is on her sweatshirt? I can't tell.
No, I can't. I couldn't really tell. Oh.
Yeah. More stuff from her backpack. The backside of the sweatshirt. And this is a really bad picture of the next group of evidence photos taken March 6th of 2024.
Oh, goodness.
By the way, Firefly, welcome in. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate having you here.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to keep Salty awake.
I know. I'm sorry. Northport is where Brian Laundrie lived with his parents. I had heard that. I had forgotten that, Firefly, until someone mentioned that when this case started popping off. Like I had totally forgotten that's where they were from.
So this white stuff that was on the tire and on her backpack, we don't know if he
Yeah,
threw that in to try and disguise evidence, or if somebody just like came in and threw it like in a can of paint or something after.
yeah, exactly. We're not sure how it got on there or, anything like that. It wasn't explained in any of the documents.
But obviously that was inside of the backpack because there's no white stuff on that. So
Is that like a lunchbox,
it
like a
looks
little,
like
that's
it,
like a
yeah.
little lunchbox. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Type thing.
There's a power cord. Some pen or marker or highlighter in there. Oh my gosh, look at
See
all
the
this stuff.
stuff on the inside. Yeah, how it was covered in stuff too. Like, dude, I
Wow.
don't know if he was just, we don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah,
And that's
it's
her
all
inhaler.
right. Purell. A couple of other things, and her inhaler again. There's another picture of her inhaler.
Mm-hmm.
Some type of over-the-counter meds that looks kind of like ibuprofen, maybe.
Maybe so.
Oh, we're back to a PDF, so I'm going to have to skip it and come back after this. Got to scroll down. Oh, no, that's actually the last picture. That is the last picture in my evidence pictures. That's
Was it?
Yeah. Stop screen. So I want to open a couple of the evidence folders for you. And dang it, I wish I could play audio. I'm going to have to figure out how to play the audio files, because that's the whole reason I submitted this FOIA request, was so I could hear the audio interviews when they first took his phone and when they went back to interview him again and told him, hey, remember when we took your phone? We said we're going to keep it a while and take stuff off of it. And he's like, yeah, okay. Like, how long are you going to have it? So
Yeah, because his parents needed to call him, and that was the only way to communicate with him. And the cops like, well, they can call Jen's phone.
right, yeah, that's exactly what they said. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, they can just call Jen's phone. Don't worry about it. He's like, okay.
All right.
My cat's looking at me all funny. She's like, what is wrong with you? she's like dead ass giving me this crazy look. I'm sorry, Ava. Did I freak you out? Oh, that's a sweet kitty.
All right. So here we are back at the folder of all of the 2.8 gigabytes worth of data. So let's look at evidence package 1 of 1. This is the first one created. You pulled a Joe. You just pulled a Joe.
I pulled a Joe, didn't I? I had to see if you would recognize.
All right. So can you see that? Oh, yeah, that opened up.
Oh, yeah.
So image. Do I want to open an image without knowing whether? Anyway, so there's an interview.
See that Natalie? That Natalia is one of the roommates.
Okay.
Chris Stearns is his dad.
Okay.
I don't know what that one. I can't tell you what's in those.
Missing person endangered. Oh, you guys probably aren't going to be able to hear the audio. Damn it. Oh, it's body cam footage is what it is. Sorry, I know I'm not sharing that with you guys. That's not fair. But that's body cam footage from the officers responding to the report of a missing person.
Going to the grandma's office?
I don't know, because it's at night. So I don't know.
Yeah, the first contact police make with Jen and Stefan is at her mother's office. And it's at night.
Okay, yeah, so that would be it. All right. So I just want to play it, and I want to share that so I can see if you guys can hear it or not. So I'm going to unshare. I'm going to unshare that, and then I'm going to play it, and I'm going to try one more time to hear the audio. And if we can't, then we're going to have to
Pokemon shit. I love to go outside and sit and look at the fireflies.
Yeah.
In
I
Florida,
love
we
to go.
have them.
Yeah, and Indiana is like has them too. And you go out at dusk and there's like 4 billion of them, and it's beautiful.
When I was in my brothers in Alabama, they had these like really cool ones with these green. They would light up green. Just and like the ones around here seem to be more of a white, you know, but the ones there were this just beautiful green. It was so cool.
All right, can you hear that?
Hear no audio.
Turn your audio up just a little, just in case that's the problem.
I
Okay.
have my phone up all
Damn
the
it.
way.
Damn it.
You're telling me to turn my audio up. Dude, it is up.
So I'm going to have to work on that, guys. I'm going to have to work on how I can share the audio because so much of this case has audio evidence.
Yeah.
And all right, we're going to see what that, that's nothing. All right, let's go to the next package.
Yeah. Don't show the package now. Don't freak out our. I'm going to just go ahead and say it. Stefan's package was small. I was like, dude, really?
Well, that.
Okay, enough said.
It makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
Like with why he had to pick on somebody who is smaller than him, and he could.
Sick bastard.
Yeah. Okay, so these are photos taken during SW search warrant of residents.
Now look, that looks like the backpack that was in his room. Remember the little red box, the purple box, and the black box we were looking at earlier in his bedroom?
Yes.
Those are the same boxes, and that is that backpack. And look at that lotion.
Oh, Pokemon, we used to peel the butts off of fireflies too, and we would paint them on our face. Absolutely, yes.
Do what? Y'all did what? To their what?
You peel the glowy parts of the butts of the fireflies off of them, and you streak your face with them, so your face would glow at night.
I did not know that. I never heard. I didn't even think about. Wow, I just learned something. We didn't do that when we were kids. We were on the river just chasing them around, and you know, we never did that.
No, we would put them in jars, and when we had enough in there, we would make ourselves phosphorescent.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, that's
So y'all were glowing.
Yes, we were. Yes, we were.
Look,
oh no,
Solo lotion.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was in his backpack.
God, what a disgusting human being.
And I'm sure it gives a description back there on how
it
to.
Does. Yeah, yeah, it does right there.
Routine. Do you see what it says? Routines
yes,
can
I
get
see.
old.
Yes.
Do you not want to read it?
No, I don't. I'm good.
Ew.
Especially having just seen the pictures that I saw.
Ew.
Yeah.
It's here to help your me time. What the?
Yep.
Dudes are weird. Okay, y'all. That's going to help your me time. Oh, okay.
So where are we at here? Is this one of the pieces of clothing out near the scene?
I think this might be. I can't remember if this is behind.
White t-shirt found in field on February 28th. So this was before they found her, right?
Yeah, but Mark, but there was a walk. There was a path. There's a woods behind the condos, right? And there's a walking path back there. And Jen's family had searched it, and they did find a few things back there. And the police went to investigate, but none of that was Maddie's. But I don't know if this is part of that or not.
Okay, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Just as white t-shirt found.
Yeah.
And doesn't necessarily make sense as to something she was wearing when she disappeared.
Right. I know there was a couple of items found back there, but it wasn't pertaining to
Oh,
Maddie.
there's a trail cam back there.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Weber, are you watching? So if you put out a trail cam to actually watch game for the purpose of hunting game, you actually have to put an identifier on that as to who owns the trail cam.
Yeah, my whole family, all the men own them. Yeah.
Right. So if a game warden or a police officer runs across that, they should be able to open that case up and contact you.
Yeah, they
to
can.
see
Yeah.
your footage. Yes.
Mm-hmm. My
Another
family, my dad and all my brothers all have them.
Yeah. So that was that evidence package.
Oh, God. So there, oh, good Lord. Evidence. Lordy.
All right. So there's another evidence package.
You're going to make me have nightmares tonight now. And I'm going to be waking up thinking about Stefan's junk. I'm going to come up fighting. I'm going to come up fighting out of my bed. Y'all going to hear Salty screaming through the airwaves.
So this is called this evidence package is called Crocs from Bedroom 1. So this is
Jen's room is bedroom 1.
Jen's room and the Crocs that are in Jen's room. So there's her Christmas tree that she's still got up into February. There's
the other. That's the mate. That's the other white Croc. Remember, they found the one white Croc with the backpack in the garbage. That's the mate to that other shoe.
Hey, what do we see on that?
Room.
Hold on. What do we see on the left side of that pile, though? You see that underneath the curtain thingy there? Doesn't that look like another Croc?
Yep. But I don't know if that's a different size than that one. You know, I don't for sure know.
They took a closer picture of it. There's a closer picture of it.
But it states in the documents that the mate to the Croc they found along with the backpack was found in Jen's room. So there was possibly 2 sets of white Crocs.
Right. Size 8 for Jen and size whatever for Maddie. And there was only one of Maddie's size. That makes sense to me. That they would have probably bought matching Crocs and Jen would have worn one size and Maddie would have worn another.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And that's how they know that was, Maddie. They only found one shoe out there with Maddie's belongings in the garbage.
There it is. That's the mate right there. That's why I put it on the thumbnail, because that is a significant piece of evidence. And it's also heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, look at the sizes, 5 to 7. The other 2 were size 8. This is a smaller size.
That's how they knew that was the mate to the one found with the
Damn, am I a good investigator or what? Like, I can logic through this before the police even do. I'm just kidding. I
think I'm the better investigator. I don't know. What? Ooh, we could have an experiment. I'm teasing, guys. He knows I'm messing with him.
We make such a good, like, yin and yang, because our brains operate differently. Like, I go down the critical analysis aspect and the research aspect, and you go down the figuring shit out aspect. Like,
oh yeah, I got to figure shit out.
Yes, exactly. That's why
I gotta make it make sense, man.
Yeah. Well, that's why I get a 28. I get a 28 gigabyte Foia request response, and you have to help me figure it out. Like, I don't want to figure it out. I just want to get it and show it to people. I just want to
do it. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a rubber glove out in the woods. Close up, closer up. It looks like there's splatters of some kind on it. Those look like the same rubber gloves that were vinyl gloves. Yeah.
But you know what? These days, everybody appears to have these blue or black gloves, especially in their kitchens and stuff like that. So, it's like they don't even make the white ones anymore. I don't know, but yeah, it is odd, to know those same type of gloves were in the Lincoln, and then this one was out in the woods willy nilly.
Well, those white ones had the powder in them that people were allergic to.
Yes, exactly.
So those went away. Those went bye-bye.
Mhm. Yep.
So this is in the woods. It looks like outside of the condos, right? Is that the condos right
Yes,
there?
and like I said, there was that walking path back there, and that's Jennifer's dad and family members. I think the dad was the first one to go back there looking, and that's when they were finding different things and notified the police about it. And
And he
the
didn't run
things
out the
turned
door
out.
yelling. He didn't run out the door yelling,
Uh-uh.
Maddie,
No,
Maddie.
he didn't pull a Stearns mama's stuff. His parents are really strange. So if you're a long-term married couple, you know how each other likes their coffee. So one thing that struck me as odd when the cops is at their house interviewing the parents of Stearns, Deb, the mother, gets up to get a cup of coffee. Stearns' dad says to her, "I'll take a cup too, and I want it blonde like you." And I thought,
what?
yes. Like she didn't. Today you might want it black, you might want it medium, you might want it blonde, you might want it chocolate. What the hell? You change your mind all the time. He's like, "I'll take mine blonde like you." And I thought, well, shouldn't she know how you want your coffee already? So it was weird. It was weird.
But who were they in front of when he said that? Who was interviewing them?
I don't recall the officer's name. It was one of the police officers.
No, but they were being not investigated, but they were being questioned by law enforcement, and he says that in front of law enforcement during the investigation of a missing child.
Yes,
you have the balls to say that.
Yes,
that is bizarre.
Yes, that's what I thought. I'll take a cup of coffee and I want it blonde like you. Like, what the hell, dude? Get up and get your own cup of coffee.
there are just so many peripheral figures in these cases that just have these weird dynamics going on. Like Lori Vallow Daybell and the Cox family had a weird vibe going on.
Yeah.
Like Megan told us more about that when I interviewed her, and I'm like, I'm one of those train wreck kind of guys. Like, I can't look away. Like, I need to know more. I honestly think there was something between her and her brother. I really do. At some point in time, maybe just once when they were teenagers, but whatever. She had him wrapped around her little finger.
Yeah, and like I said, I concluded that a very long time ago that something odd was going on between Lori and her little brother.
Oh, so sick.
And we heard how they would touch each other, and the other day in that show, remember?
Yeah, they would grab each other's butts and other
grab
body
each
parts.
other and doing all kinds of weirdness to each other. Like, okay,
hey,
I have a lot of siblings, and we didn't do all that.
No. All right, so could you tell me, Salty, how I can portal us to Buzzed Nation and his Feral Friday? Because we're getting ready to do that. We're getting ready to wrap this up.
I don't know how that works. Like, I just think we all leave your stream and we go over there, don't we? I don't know. Ask Pokemon.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Pokemon, can you tell me how I'm supposed to portal us over to Buzz Nation?
Pokemon, how do we do it? Portals. You done rubbed off on Lori Vallow done rubbed off on you.
Right.
Joe is trying to create a portal. Put the word out, people.
Yeah. So they found some stuff around the pond. No big deal. That was not the place where she was, which is why they didn't find anything.
Yeah. They collected what they did find, but it didn't, end up pertaining to her or her disappearance or to Stefan. So,
right. Yeah, I don't know how to portal us there. I guess we're just going to go where we go after this. I told Steve I'd try and
we go where we go. I smoke when I smoke.
All right. Well, Salty, thank you so much for hanging with me through this. I mean, there's so much more to go, but I've got to figure out how you guys can hear audio when I play some of the files that have audio with them, because it's critical. It's critical in this case. I want to listen in detail to those 2 interviews that the police did with him, and those are only audio files. They didn't actually record body cam. They just have the audio files, the 27th and just after midnight on the 28th. I really want to listen in detail to those just to figure out if his claim has any merit. I don't believe on its face that it does, but I don't know. I want to go listen.
Yeah,
If if we can't listen together, then it's no fun. So I'll get it figured out. I promise.
Yeah, I don't think he's got we got anything to worry about with him getting anything suppressed or thrown out. I mean, if Koberger couldn't, I don't think Stearns can.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for hanging with us. This is some tough stuff.
Yeah, I gotta go do some reading if I can stay awake. I got a big old document I gotta read. Firefly, did you finish that whole thing? I briefly saw your message pop up a few minutes ago. I have not completed it yet, so I need to get busy on that. But I might go live tomorrow at some point. I don't think anybody's going to be here all day but me. Yeah, I got some reviewing of some materials to do before I decide on how to proceed. But I will be live on Sunday morning. As took her 2.5 hours to read that doc by herself.
Yeah,
It's a
Firefly,
long one.
I got your back channel message, and I'm trying that right now, and it's not working. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, or if the process has changed, but I'm trying. It's not working.
Oh,
We'll get
about
it figured out.
forwarding over.
Yep. There's a specific method to do it, and it's
Oh, okay.
like line by
Well,
line instructions aren't working.
yeah. I don't know how to do it either. I've never done that stuff. Like you just go over there and scream raid, and they'll know you all came from the same place.
Right. I guess that means I should probably drop his channel here in the link, right? That Feral Friday is fun. Everybody just hangs around and is just like total goofballs. You just goof off on a Friday night.
Oh, if I could stay awake.
All right. Thanks everybody for hanging with us and getting through some tough material. There's still more material to get through. Salty, thanks for guiding us through it too.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's not a problem. So you guys, thanks for joining in chat. And I saw some of you in mine earlier, and I saw a few of you in another chat earlier, and I'll see you again in another one here soon, probably.
Catch y'all later on the flip side.
Oh, the chat. She said the channel needs to give you permission first. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Maybe there aren't any channels that have given me permission to portal. That's a good point.
You need to tell Steve to give you permission to portal.
I guess I will.
All righty. All right, guys. You have a great night. I'll see you over the weekend.
Have a wonderful weekend. We'll catch you later.
Bye.